Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to open some more kettlebells from kettlebell.com. We made a previous video about opening up kettlebells from this company before, but apparently they sent me 6, not 2. They just got separated in shipping. Favorite thing that I like about this already is this made in the USA label up here. These kettlebells have been designed by pro kettlebell lifters and guys who do a lot of marathoning up at the Seattle Kettlebell Club. And this is their ultimate kettlebell design. I did use the ones that they sent me already, and they are really nice. Normal competition kettlebells are already very good. They've been designed to be very useful. The thing that you're always looking for with a kettlebell is this good angle up here in this picture. If it has a really round angle up there, then they're probably not great. I've seen some of those lately where they have competition kettlebell bodies, but they have kind of weird, very round circular handles instead of with that nice corner on each side. That nice corner up there is what helps you lift the bell correctly. Today we are going to use this original Gerber Mark 1 to open up these boxes. I was just going through the old farmhouse and found this old knife. This is probably much older than me. This looks to be an original Vietnam era one that I remember from my childhood. Gerber Mark 1 boot knife. They make knockoffs of these now. Smith & Wesson, M&P makes some knockoffs of these, but they are not like the originals. The originals, steel is much better. The shape is much better. Everything about them is much better. There are some new copies that have the exact same style of sheath, so they have basically replicated this knife exactly. I do love these old school knives, Vietnam era knives like this. Pretty fun stuff. There we go. A letter. Mark, I hope you love these bells. Good luck with your long cycle training. Thank you. The Pro Kettlebell. All the info. Look at this. They give us a whole explanation of each individual part of the kettlebell. Nice note on the back. Is this a sticker or something? Feels really heavy, like heavy cardstock. Can't tell. We'll figure it out. Base, face, pocket, horn, handle, window, horn, nose. It has a nose now. We'll talk about that in a second. This first weight that we are opening is actually a 22K. So I was correct previously. There was a misprint on the box where it skips from 20 to 24K. There's no 22K listed here, but they have written 22K on the box here. That'll be fixed in subsequent runs. Great packaging. Love these bells. So there's one, 22 kilograms. Extraordinarily sexy. Very good handles. Apparently they offer slightly different handle finishes as well. More polished ones. I prefer the unpurely polished ones like this. The top is extremely smooth. And what we're always looking for when we're looking at bells is there a seam on the inside here? Any seam on the top or in this corner is going to eat your hands to death. A good bell will have good smooth surfaces here. You can take a bad bell and sand it down yourself, or you could pay the extra couple of bucks and buy the good bell where somebody did it for you. Doesn't matter how you do it. 24K, so it appears that they have sent me 2 20s, 2 22s, and 2 24s. We'll have to work our way up to double long cycle with that. I haven't done double long cycle with weights that heavy in about 12 years. So I am doing a walk up to that program. We have detailed that in a video this month called My Personal Program for December 2021, where we talk about how we are doing our test to find our double long cycle program. The test is going to last through probably mid-January, and then we will be using these. This is our second 22. Hollow base, extremely cool. And last bell, this should be another 20. Yes, another 20 in the Apollo size. This company also is doing something extremely smart, and they're making 2 different sizes of these bells. The big one is the Apollo. The smaller one for people of smaller stature is the Atlas. The Atlas comes in 4 to 24K, the Apollo comes in 16 to 34. I asked them if they will be making the 4, 6, and 8 in the Apollo size. They aren't currently, but we'll see if we can't get them to consider it. That is for a very specific reason. People who are heavier, overweight, or deconditioned often have larger wrists if they have a lot of extra body mass. And so the bigger kettlebells tend to fit bigger people better as they're going through a weight loss journey. But right now they have the Atlas is a slightly smaller size. I have asked them, and they are going to send me some of those Atlas 6Ks and 8Ks so I can see how they lay on the wrist. That's the thing that I've been looking for with kettlebells for an extremely long time, is a bell light enough for people recovering from injury or who are deconditioned. I myself have been extraordinarily injured in my life, and I would really appreciate good equipment that is in the weight range that you can use when you are recovering from things like horrific shoulder injuries or very bad knee injuries. A lot of professional circus aerialists that I know end up with very severe shoulder injuries for the obvious reason that circus arts places a huge amount of load and rotationary traction on the shoulder joint. Many aerialists and trapeze artists end up with a shoulder injury in the front, like people who do bench press, only it's way more severe because they kind of rip it off the bone. And there really aren't a lot of great recovery options because their kettlebells aren't light enough. And so they end up doing a lot of band work, and not a big fan of band work if you could actually do proper pressing movements instead. And that is our 20. So we have a 20, a 24, and two 22s. This line right here is what they are now calling the nose that separates the way the bell lands on the arm. So that is the nose point right there. And that has been the design point that I think that they worked on for a very long time. As I understand it, getting this shape right here to be good for everybody who picks up the bell. A lot of different shapes that they went through in order to get to this shape as I understand it. And they have put a lot of time and effort into it. And it shows. These are like the Cadillac of bells. They feel lighter than their actual weight. And I think that that's just from good handling design. Oftentimes hardstyle kettlebells feel very heavy, and a lot of hardstyle bells that are very expensive are actually pretty useless because the geometry of the handle corner to this point is pretty awful, and it won't allow people to pick up a lot of heavier hardstyle bells in proper kettlebell grip, and they end up doing a compromised, more barbell grip, which is not good when you get into super heavy weights because you're gonna stress your tendons out in really weird ways if you're trying to do high rep. I know that happened to me. I had really awful bells 10 years ago in the 88-pound, 40K plus region, and they actually ended up injuring me because the geometry of them is so bad. That is why I harp on good designs for kettlebells all the time, because a bad design will actually mess you up pretty severely. Even if you try to make bad kettlebells work, it's usually just not worth it. It's worth the extra money to usually get good, well-designed bells from the beginning. Buy once, cry once is the classic saying. You know, if you try to cheap out, I couldn't just find those bells back then, but I would love to see this company make even heavier bells. They go up to 34K right now, but you know, they are the Cadillac, and if they made them heavier, then I don't know what would happen to kettlebell lifting. Every time there's a new innovation in equipment like this, everything gets better. More people are able to get into kettlebell lifting because there is less pressure placed on the arm in the adaptation phase of training. Eventually that won't matter. You will adapt to it. If you keep your wrist in the correct position and you follow the correct dynamics, you will be uncomfortable for the first 2 to 3 weeks, depending on frame size and athletic conditioning level, but it will get better over time. I would like to see these bells even heavier and see what happens with the liftability of them when they get up into those higher ranges for higher rep activities. Thank you to ProKettlebell.com, and we are going to put these into practice as soon as we can.